Illegal exchange offer. I used to sell a lot of things on Craigslist to make some extra money. It was an easy way to get rid of items I no longer needed while helping someone else who was looking for a good deal. However, there was an encounter that still sends shivers down my spine to this day. It was a beautiful day and I was feeling good. I had recently upgraded to a new laptop and decided to sell my old one on Craigslist. I took some pictures and listed all the details, and soon enough, I received an email from someone who was interested in purchasing it. His name was Alex, and he said he was a college student who needed a laptop for his studies. We exchanged a few emails, and he seemed like a nice guy. He was polite and respectful, and we agreed to meet at a Starbucks near his college since it was a public place and I thought it would be safe. I remember feeling excited to sell my old laptop and to meet someone who needed it for their studies. I arrived at Starbucks a few minutes early and decided to get a coffee while I waited for Alex. As I was sipping my latte, I saw a guy walk in and glance around the cafe. He looked up when he saw me, and I could tell it was him. He walked over to me and we introduced ourselves. At first, everything seemed normal. We exchanged pleasantries and I handed him the laptop to take a look at it. He examined it carefully and I could tell he knew what he was doing. He checked the specifications, ran some tests, and asked me some questions about it. He seemed satisfied with the laptop and told me he wanted to buy it. I remember feeling happy that I found a buyer for my laptop so quickly. We started talking about the price and we agreed on a fair amount. He pulled out his wallet and looked inside. That's when he told me he didn't have any cash on him. He looked up at me with a pleading expression on his face and asked if he could trade something else for the laptop. I remember feeling a bit confused and curious about what he had in mind. That's when he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small baggie. My heart sank as I saw what was inside. I immediately knew what it was, and my mind started racing. He was offering me drugs in exchange for the laptop. I remember feeling scared and angry at the same time. He looked up at me and said, "This is worth a lot of money. You can sell it and make a profit." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I didn't know what to say, and I remember feeling paralyzed with fear. He must have seen the look on my face because he started getting agitated. He started to argue with me, saying that he really needed the laptop for school and he had no other way to pay for it. He kept trying to convince me to take the drugs and sell them for money. I remember feeling trapped and vulnerable. I knew I had to get out of there, but I didn't want to make him angry or upset. I tried to reason with him, but he was persistent. He kept saying it was a good deal and that I would regret it if I didn't take it. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest as I stood up and told him that I was leaving. As I turned to walk away, he grabbed my arm and tried to pull me back. I yanked my arm away and ran out of Starbucks as fast as I could. I could hear him shouting after me, but I didn't look back. I just ran until I felt safe. I remember feeling so scared and shaken up by the encounter. I couldn't believe that someone would try to do something like that to me. I felt violated and vulnerable. After that experience, I never sold anything on Craigslist again. I realized how dangerous it could be to meet with strangers and exchange goods for money. I also felt angry that there are people out there who try to take advantage of others in vulnerable situations. Looking back, I realized I should have been more cautious and taken more steps to ensure my safety. Meeting in a public place was a good start, but I should have brought a friend with me or told someone where I was going and who I was meeting. I also learned to trust my instincts. When Alex offered me drugs in exchange for the laptop, I should have ended the conversation right then and there. I shouldn't have allowed him to argue with me or convince me to take the drugs. Overall, it was a terrifying experience, but it taught me some valuable lessons. I hope that sharing my story, others can learn from my mistakes and avoid dangerous situations when using online marketplaces like Craigslist. Friend request. I've always loved social media, especially Snapchat. I found it intriguing to think about sharing fleeting moments. I had no idea that a seemingly innocent friend request would drag me through a horrible ordeal that I would never forget. The notification on my phone arrived on a chilly October evening. Unknown Snap98 sent me a new friend request with the username new. I initially dismissed it as a friend pulling a prank, so I didn't think much of it, but my insatiable curiosity led me to agree to the request. I started regretting my choice almost right away. darkness and a terrifying silence were all I could see in the first snap I got. I quickly tapped away from it in an effort to rid myself of the unsettling feeling. It had given me shivers down my spine. I dismissed it as a bug or a mistake, but I couldn't get rid of the unsettling feeling that something wasn't quite right. The following morning, as I went about my usual business, another notification appeared. Unknown Snap 98 had taken another picture. I cautiously opened it. It wouldn't be as upsetting as a previous one. This time, the image was of my own home. Panic started to creep in as my heart skipped a beat. There was no sign of anyone hiding nearby when I hurried outside and searched frantically. I persuaded myself that it was merely a practical joke or elaborate hoax carried out by someone who knew me. They went to great lengths to frighten me, but who could it be and why? The unsettling pictures kept coming as the days turned into weeks. Sometimes it was a picture of me sleeping, unaware that anyone was looking. Other times, it was images of locations I had recently visited, along with a mysterious message that seemed to indicate I was being followed. My sense of safety and sanity was being slowly eroded by each snap, which I experienced as a knife twisting in my stomach. My once regular social media activity decreased. I was constantly looking back, dreading what I might find next, as my fear of each new notification consumed me. Even in the privacy of my own home, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me and watching my every move. Days of paranoia followed nights of insomnia. I made an effort to talk to my friends about my worries, but they dismissed them as being exaggerated. They were unable to comprehend the terror that had taken over my life, or the pervasive fear that permeated every aspect of it. I find myself wondering what will happen to me in the next moment as I sit here and type this account. The world I once knew has changed, twisted into a nightmare I can't escape. I don't know if it's the face of my tormentor finally revealing themselves, or if it's something far more sinister, an omen of the horror that's yet to come. And with each passing second, Unknown Snap 98's ominous presence grows more powerful, its hold on my life becoming tighter with each snap it sends. I was further engulfed in a state of paralyzing fear as the relentless torment increased. Every time Unknown Snap 98 sent me a snap, a feeling of dread overcame me and left me trembling and on edge. The possibilities of this person's identity and their motives for wanting me consumed my thoughts. It was time for me to act, I decided. I alerted Snapchat to the disturbing snaps in the hopes that they would be able to identify the sender's IP address and put an end to this nightmare. Weeks passed, but there was still no response. Unknown Snap 98 appeared to be above suspicion, operating freely in the shadows. My sense of solitude grew more intense as the days passed. I felt exposed and defenseless as a result of the constant surveillance that had taken away my privacy. I became acutely aware of everything around me and started to analyze every sound and movement. My house's once comfortable comforts had changed into a confusing maze. My mind wouldn't let go of the horrors that awaited me in the digital world, and sleep became a distant memory. I made attempts to distance myself from Snapchat and get away from Unknown Snap 98, but it was difficult. Every aspect of my life had been affected, and I was now a permanent resident of fear. An email notification flashed across the screen one evening as I sat in front of my computer looking for solutions. Finally responding to my complaint, it was from Snapchat. As I opened the message, my heart was pounding with anticipation as I waited for a solution. Instead, what I discovered dashed my expectations. The email claimed that despite thorough investigation, the sender could not be located. They assured me that they took the matter seriously, but their words did not provide much comfort. It appeared as though Unknown Snap 98 was a shadowy, anonymous being that existed outside the purview of traceability. I thought about completely deleting my Snapchat account after feeling defeated and hopeless, but something kept me from going further. A lingering fear mixed with an insatiable curiosity. Even if I meant plunging even deeper into the abyss, I had to discover the truth. Days turned into weeks as I painstakingly recorded each snap I got from Unknown Snap 98. I looked for any patterns, hints, or other information that might point me in the right direction, or other information that might point me in the direction of the solutions I so desperately needed. A snap came, a snap that would change everything. During one of these late-night investigations, one dimly lit, flickering light bulb could be seen in the image of a lonely room. Darkness shrouded the face of the figure standing in the corner. As soon as I realized that the space was the basement of my own home, my heart began to race. I panicked as soon as I realized my tormentor was close by. I had no idea that they would be so close. I mustered the courage to move downstairs while my hands were shaking. The weight of the unknowable was bearing down on me, and each step felt like a descent into madness. I turned on the light as soon as I entered the basement, casting a harsh glow through the space. I'd have recurring nightmares about what I discovered there. There was nobody in the room. It was empty. It hit me like a ton of bricks when I realized it. Unknown Snap 98 was playing with me, playing on my anxieties and taking pleasure in my hopelessness.